Media has been awash with reactions after the Minister of Works, David Umahi, fired back at Oyo State Governor Gov Makinde over criticism of the controversial Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Makinde had questioned the true cost per kilometer of the highway during a stakeholders consultative and engagement meeting last Thursday, accusing Umahi of dancing around the cost. The minister, in response, while speaking during an inspection of the Kefi section of the Abuja-Mararaba Kefi Road, refuted Makinde's comments, stating that the governor misunderstood the nuanced details of road cost evaluation, insisting the highway should not be reduced to political soundbites. He then pointedly referred to Makinde as an electrician. Let's take a look.
I heard, somebody showed me what my brother and friend, Governor Makinde of Oyo State said. I don't want to join issues with him, but I think he's an engineer. I think he's an electrician. Oh, sorry, they call it elect-elect. Elect-elect. This road construction, elect-elect, no reach there. I'm a senior in governance, and I'm a senior in engineering practice. And so anything he doesn't understand, he should call me and ask. And I will not join issue because I have respect for our governors. I have respect for him as my friend and brother. But he should withdraw the word that I'm dancing around. I never dance around. And if he insists, he should come for debate. That is very important. He should come for debate, and we can this thing, So there is no ambiguity in cost per kilometer, but I'm teaching them that cost per kilometer could be divided into estimated cost, which has elements of variance, and then average cost, which is definitive. That is what it is.
That was the minister there. He maintained that calculating average costs for a project of the Lagos-Calabar Highway's magnitude was impossible, reminding Nigerians that he remains an authority in the field of engineering. Cost per kilometer. Rufy, you started that conversation. Cost per kilometer. I didn't even understand what he meant by elect-elect. Have you heard that before? Elect-elect. Let me take some
electrical
reaction.
engineering.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
elect-elect. All right, let's take some tweets. I mean, this story has been viral. This is from someone on X who wrote, "I love Engineer Dave Umahi. Engineering is a broad field of different expertise, no doubt. Engineer Gov Makinde was only trying to spite him since they are both engineers. However, a civil construction engineer is different from an electrical engineer or a petroleum engineer." Then another X-user wrote, "But this is exactly why Nigeria can't move forward. Every disagreement turns into a CV context." Makinde raised a question on cost transparency. Umahi replied with credentials. "Sir, this isn't WAEC verification. It's public accountability. The road isn't a personal project. It's taxpayers' money. Being a civil engineer doesn't exempt you from scrutiny. Even pilots get questioned before takeoff." Let me come to you, our favorite Niger wife. I will leave Rufai out for a moment on this subject matter. But you saw the minister there, of course, reiterating the point that you cannot calculate a figure. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that given the duration of this conversation, it has stretched out longer than necessary, because at this point we would have wanted to start to see more numbers being crunched. I don't think it's fair for accountability, for the spirit of transparency, for us to continue to focus on the trivialities around the conversation, because if we are to just focus on the core of this conversation, there are questions that are being asked that need to be answered. It doesn't matter whether those questions are answered by an engineer or whether they are answered by a lecturer or a professor. At the end of the day, we are aware that he's a minister and he works with an entire ministry beneath him, and there are several people that do the work behind the scenes. So if he didn't have the numbers initially, by now we would have wanted to have seen some sort of a broader conversation around educating people, because the fact that, you know, he came on this platform and he did say, oh, you know, let me educate you, this is how it's supposed to be and so forth. It's important for us to educate the public. I, for one, am not an engineer, but I would love to know how it's calculated and how it translates into taxpayers' money. What is the budget? Where are we with that budget? You know, he's spoken about, yes, there's an estimated figure, and then, of course, there's the delivered figure. We understand all of that, but it's just about how we bring this information together and communicate it to the public without personalizing issues, without reducing these issues to, you know, what feels like personal battles. That's not the issue here. So I think for me, we just need to continue with the spirit of accountability and transparency. And this is the impunity, unfortunately, that continues to fester around us. You know, some people say that maybe what's holding us back is our beloved African culture. Because in African culture, you're not to question your elders, you're not to question people in positions of authority. There are a number of things that are considered a taboo. However, as much as we love and value our African culture, it's also important for us to now start having a conversation around where we are in a democracy. And the fact that democracy, the higher up you are in the food chain, the more of a servant you are to the people, and the more people have the right, authority, and access to you to get answers. You know, this back and forth, I think is still highly unproductive. I understand that he has come out with some figures, but again, I don't think it's about holding press conferences and delivering figures. Let's see some beautiful graphic artwork.
What were the figures that you saw? I think I saw something about 4 billion per kilometer, something like that.
There were a lot of calculations. I know we were doing the calculations in studio, and there was 28 billion. There were a number of different figures. So I don't want to churn out figures that don't add up to, because you would have had to calculate them. But I think whatever it is, it's not something that we should be crunching with our calculators. He mentioned in the interview when he was here on the morning show that there is a website that they're unveiling that should also have information and so forth. That website should also provide information, up-to-date information, cost. This is what we have spent thus far on so many kilometers from this place to that place. XYZ, that is what we call transparency and accountability.
Fantastic.